Well, we are at the end of January, and you know what that means. Because come February, the first Dynamite is going straight to the beach as we head towards beach break. But first off, let's go ahead and reignite the conversation on what's happened these past 2 weeks. A lot has gone down. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to AEWSPARK Re-ignited, as I am back once again with the good doctor, one of my best friends, Dr. Bradley Campbell, Farm D, and we're here to bring you our insights to all things All Elite Wrestling. Before we get started, Dr. Brad, how are you this evening as we record January 30th?
I didn't realize I was one of your best friends, so that just kind of made my night. I'm doing great now.
Hey, man, I respect you both as a fan, as a person. You got a good heart. You got a strong work mentality. You're an open-minded, conscious individual. You bring great conversations. And again, I don't see a bad side to you. I don't see nothing fake, phony, or false agenda about you. It's those type of genuine personalities and those type of morals and family values also that I can simply say respect. And again, you and I have been doing this for a while now as I think I'm near now episode 50 of this series. So to everybody who's been a part of it, thank you again. And Brad, I thank you for joining me on the journey. As once again, we've had a wild couple of weeks. And again, we got to give the people what they want. And that wasn't a dig at the best friends either. Legitimately, folks. After Brad, he's cool folk. Now, if only his phone would cooperate. With that being said, let's just go ahead and I think you froze. There we go. Let's go ahead and get right into it. As always, in AEWSPARK, I like to start off with a little bit of light acknowledgement, whether it's BTE, Dark, or something else in between. So let's go ahead and kick things off with AEWSPARK Light. As again, we've been now through, again, covering 2 weeks of All Elite Wrestling action and BTE stuff galore. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to briefly talk a little bit about what I think Dark has given me lately. Once again, continued showcase of up-and-coming promising talents, new impromptu tag team testing per se as they try and figure out the combination to overcome Ivelisse Diamante, and still haven't figured it out. Keep trying. But hey, Catalina Perez, she tried. But I still think Tessa Price and Kylan King are a better fit together. That's just my opinion. Speaking of which, Tessa Price, she's still doing her thing across Dark. I don't know whether or not this whole MLW dynamic is going to come into play. As someone will see on Dynamite, we'll have to see more from it. Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny, yeah, Allie, they continue to bring what I love. Carnage, destruction, violence, and madness galore. As the last 2 weeks, they have obliterated the competition, with Allie, of course, having her own fun, but also being her own coach, with screaming at ringside, and technical difficulties. Dr. Bradley has been dropped. Don't worry, folks. He will be back shortly. I'm sure he's probably still hearing me. There we go.
Keeps kicking me off.
That was fun. Did battery lower or something? We all good?
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Brooke Havoc is one that I really have high inspirations for. She was one of those that impressed me the most during the first ever Nightmare Family Showcase. And I didn't know a thing about this young individual, but apparently she has truly come a long way, and she got her big spot challenging your favorite, the good doctor herself, Britt Baker, on Dark. And I thought she held up her own pretty well. And again, you'll see that pretty soon because we don't keep up necessarily with everything, but we try to, folks. And again, he'll give you his spots. Nick Camarado has definitely made strides. We've seen him now on Dynamite. He's a big-time player, I feel like, and could make big waves in AEW. And this idea of Lee Johnson, Aaron Solo, I see similar dynamics with the two. Both of these men looking for their first victory, I might add. And honestly, they've now been a tag team for about 3 weeks. More and more, I see them coming together as you test the waters. This could lead to something, but Aaron Solo being part of the Nightmare Family, I think he still has his work cut out for him. Marty Daniels gives me a lot of strong, badass MMA-type body. She almost reminds me a little bit of Sonya Deville. I like her style. I like the way she carries herself in the ring. She's just a big, hard hitter. I mean, shoot. She paintbrushed Shana this past AEW at Dark. And Shana, of course, continues her ways and her streaks on Dark as well with that ridiculous tiger suplex, bending her neck back as far as I could possibly think. And, of course, my favorite match these last 2 weeks on Dark, got to give it up for Shana and Kylan King. I know both these ladies were going to bring it with their reach, with their dynamic offense, and with the way they really have continued to grow their arsenal. Really good match. Kylan King, you tried. Keep on fighting. Shauna, big win for her. With that being said, those are just some brief thoughts I have on who's impressed me lately on Dark and some matches galore. But again, everybody loves the opportunities they get on this show, it seems. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. And it's just a fun showcase of wrestling. And apparently Taz has a new favorite commentator in -1 who literally told Excalibur to shut up. Also, do we need another walk-off? Really? Really? That's a thing. Yeah. Okay? Let's just make sure that's a one-time thing. Pretty Avalon, get it done in the ring for your athleticism, not for your culture, which also failed as Lee Johnson won that. I tell you, Dark, though, just gives a little bit of everything. Constantly makes me laugh, but I digress. Dr. Brad, I know that you're still a little bit behind on Dark, but give me some of your thoughts lately based on what you've seen from Dark or anything you have.
Well, I definitely like to touch on this later, but really, I think Dark's been a really good place for a lot of the women's division to really kind of develop. In particular, we're both big fans of Kylan King, but Shanna, I've always liked her, and we will talk more about this later in the program, but man, was she impressive this past week on Dynamite. I think there's a lot of talent in what she has to give. And I'm just a fanboy over her gimmick. Being a big Dragon Ball fan. Yeah. And just even just her lifting her hands in the air like she's gonna do the spirit bomb. I mean, that's just
yes.
I mean, that's just total fan service,
I love it. I love Shauna, man. I love the character, and I think she's a great in-ring athlete. All right. Yeah. Well, before we move on into all things Dynamite, I'm gonna leave the elite and stuff. Non-copyright. Young Bucks, don't sue me. Non-copyright. Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts and takeaways lately on BTE. We've seen some stuff with the Dark Order as we once again now wondering their direction. We still see the dynamic of Kip trying to say, "I beat you, Leva, fair and square," and so much more galore. And now we're really seeing the dynamic of the Elite with the Good Brothers and the Young Bucks. So take me through your thoughts on BTE lately.
Well, the Good Brothers popping up to open up BTE and kind of interrupting the Young Bucks, just trying to just be a total kiss ass towards them. Definitely shows there's going to be some storyline building between those two tag teams. We know that the Good Brothers are aligned with Kenny Omega. We know that in the previous week they questioned Don Callis for the Young Brothers being called Kenny Omega's best friends. Mm-hmm. There's definitely some storyline advancement there. We know that they tag teamed together in an 8-man tag on Dynamite, which we will talk about later. So we won't go into that now, but it's coming. The Dark Order has always been for months now has been a highlight. They're always funny, always amusing.
Always
they're going to have
together.
Yeah, they're going to have a slumber party now. Maybe that's what they need.
Just rest their minds and gather their thoughts.
And we can probably be assured that 5 will somehow ruin it, and everybody will blame 5 and yell at 5. Yeah. Let's see. John Silver is still the BTE champion.
Who's gonna beat this guy for the freaking title at this point? Good grief.
Yeah.
For the whole dang roster.
Yeah. It's been amusing watching him week after week. He gets so into it. He's proud to be the champion. He's actually he's a really good BTE champion. He takes it serious. He has fun with it.
That's what it should be.
Yeah. And then Chris Statlander has just been abducting people just because she can.
Boop. That's enough said. As we wait for the end to come back to the ring. But she has her own plans in mind and own experiments as well. And I love it. Keep doing it. But
Yeah.
Don't ask me. All right. Well, again, we'll have to see what carries on next time on BTE. Can somebody finally take the BTE title from John Silver? What sort of madness will ensue at this slumber party? Will we find more of the Anna stuff go down? Will Tai Kanji be part of the slumber party? Who knows? And who knows what other craziness might go down or subtle storytelling. But again, we'll have to wait and see, as BTE is just an always fun half hour of just, jokes, comedy, subtle storytelling. And that's been its greatest strength, furthered by AEW. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk now about all things Dynamite, because these last 2 weeks have been a mixed bag. When you think about 2 weeks ago, people thought the show took a bit of a backstep with its variety, match quality, and storytelling. And then this past Wednesday, they knocked it out the friggin' ballpark with a classic match and so much more. So let's go ahead and talk about everything that's gone down these past couple of weeks. Let's first talk about Fighting the Family, as this past Wednesday, Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston, they finally got it on, one-on-one. And sad to say, due to technical difficulties, maybe people didn't catch the entire thing of this, but I'm glad I did, because I was able to watch later on for reasons. Anyway, this match, of course, has been brewing since last year, August, with that Casino Battle Royale where Eddie Kingston was never eliminated, even though Lance literally eliminated him. And these two finally do down. Lance Archer was legitimately badass here. I respect the fact both men came into this fighting on their own, one-on-one. Eddie left the family to the back. Lance left Jake to the back. Lance basically controlled like 90% of this match. Eddie got a few shots in, but then basically Lance tried to kill the guy. One point, literally choked someone on the apron where Eddie landed on his hip. Ouch. And literally, we, of course, had all the classics as Big Man Lance walking across the ropes, friggin' pulled up a moonsault. He had the EBD claw on him, but like, no, I'm not finishing him off like that. I'm not finishing him off like that. Literally, he could have beat Eddie like 2 times, it seemed, in this match. But I think at the end of the day, he was just having fun, as he literally called this place his playground. But that ended up biting him in the ass, because eventually the family came to fight on behalf of, let's just say, a member of their own. I don't know if you call him the leader or what here. You be the judge. But basically, the Butcher and the Blade, they basically apprehended Jake, beat him down, held him hostage. As Lance saw this, what happens from behind, but the bunny, literally handing Eddie a foreign object, where basically a backhand with that later, Eddie pulls off the win and beats Lance. And to add further insult to injury afterwards, he hits him with it again. The family stands tall. But we are far from done with this, folks, as we'll talk about subtly a little later. Dr. Brad, your thoughts on this match? This was ridiculous.
My thoughts are that the streaming services needed to get it together, because my screen was black for the entire match. I know Kingston won, and I think that him winning will help further progress the story. So what I'm going to say in regards to my thoughts are, I'm really glad that Tony Khan issued an apology to all the fans. I think he recognized that there were issues, and it just shows that he's a stand-up guy and that he wants the fans to enjoy his product. And I'm going to have to find a way to check out that match.
I think they upload most of it literally to YouTube. It's like a 12-minute long clip. It might literally be the match itself. So I would start with that.
I'll have to go back and watch that. So I'll let you know my thoughts later.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, folks, I'm sorry for your technical difficulties, but I just caught the match on a Thursday through a website that I use for wrestling, because Wednesday night, I was basically MIA because I was recovering from getting vaccine number 2 for COVID. Now fully done.
Yeah, I recovered from mine on Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you had on Monday. So literally you were one day ahead behind me, because I took it Tuesday night and Wednesday I was dead to rights. Period.
Yeah.
Oh, man, they were not kidding about that thing. Again, folks, protect yourself. Your health matters. Do what you got to do. It's worth it. We did it. Hopefully this is the last one. I don't want to do vaccine number 3.
And pharmacists recommended, protect yourself. This is coming from a professional here, someone who works in healthcare. Protect yourself. Sanitize, wash your hands, practice good social distancing, care for others, be mindful of that other people are going to are reacting to this crisis in different ways. There's different emotional responses. Let's learn to be empathetic and love one another during this time, and then we can all get through it together. And if you do choose to stay at home, you have things you can do, like watch pro wrestling.
Hey, never been a better time to be a pro wrestling fan, especially if you never heard of AEW or were turned off at one point due to bad booking by another company. But again, we're not here to bully, criticize, or belittle. We're here to talk and have fun, but it is focused on all things all elite wrestling. And also elite wrestling, also elite health matters. Again, the way they've handled the pandemic, mad respect.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if folks, if you haven't seen the match, I think they literally upload the whole thing on YouTube. It's like a 12-minute clip. Please go check it out. It was definitely my second most favorite match of the night. All right, well, as the doc gets ready to go look at that after we're done here, I'm going to let the doc here talk about Jon Moxley. As Jon Moxley these last 2 weeks have given us his overall thoughts on the AEW landscape and how things right now, he can't keep up with them, but he loves it. He loves the chaos, but also his plan of action and dealing with it and what he trusts with it. And simply it is, he's a simple man, but he's also a violent gentleman. He's got this and he's got this. That's all he needs. And now he's going to have some running mates. Basically, it comes down to this. 2 weeks ago, we literally found Penta, or so we think, attacked backstage via Kenny Omega and Don Callis and the Good Brothers. And a point of the boot, ouch, basically has rendered Pentagon unable to compete for the time being, along with some other long-standing injury. Get well soon. Pac and Ray Phoenix saw this. They are ticked. And now it seems Jon Moxley has somebody he's never worked with and a former enemy on his side. The enemy of the enemy is my friend, and Ray Phoenix and Moxley. Who would ever thought we'd see that dynamic in AEW? Well, now it's official because Pentagon is out, so the rest of the Death Triangle, Pac and Ray Phoenix, they're going to tag with Jon Moxley to take on these guys at Beach Break. And Jon Moxley says, get ready for war. This should be fun. Dada Brad, give me your thoughts on Jon Moxley's mentality doing with all of this. It's like, it's just whatever. It's just another day of the office. He's just ready to kick someone's ass.
Well, Jon Moxley is a straight shooter, and he is the type of man who knows exactly what he wants. He said it perfectly. He likes his coffee hot. He likes his water at room temperature, and he likes his sex in the morning to get his day started off well. I thought that was beautiful. Just that illustration. I laughed out loud.
What?
I laughed out loud so hard. Well, he is going to be a father here pretty soon. So
that is true. That is true.
So, but you think about in previous weeks, he's talked about coming after Kenny Omega. He's talked about how he was just he lost, in an unfair manner. He wants that title back. He's focused. He's on a mission. And Jon Moxley, is a loose cannon. That term's been thrown around. So you take someone who's a loose cannon, who's pissed off. He's gonna come and try to get back what he feels is rightfully his.
And he's ready to fight everyone for it.
Yeah, and I'm sure. We will talk more about Jon Moxley later in this program.
Because it wasn't the only time he made his presence known. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about talking either, but I thought that this was fun. Speaking about presence known, you talk about an interesting rivalry that has really started to develop, as we have now had the icon Sting basically acknowledge Darby Allin, not only for being the TNT champion, and rightfully so, but he sees a lot of himself in him. But before we can talk more about this whole dynamic and what Sting really has on his mind, who comes out on the screen and once again ruins a feel-good moment? Team Taz. And basically, Team Taz, they talk about Sting, they call him a punk, and basically, you both are street thugs. You want to take it to the streets? Okay. So basically, they impromptu challenge these two to a street fight. And Darby Allin finally takes the mic and says, you want to take it to the streets? Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. And then we finally heard from both Sting and Darby Allin under the same type of setting in an abandoned warehouse, it seems, talking about, you call us hoodlums? And again, these guys, they are men of few words. They let their actions speak for
Mm-hmm.
themselves. So what do? Darby Allin throws his skateboard through a window, and then Sting just literally whacks the bat across 4 different windows, and literally like, okay, we're hoodlums. Yeah, we're hoodlums. I'm a hoodlum. So basically what we have here after later on Team Taz destroys a merch stand. That poor guy through the table. Damn. Hoodlums versus Assassins. They're taking it to the streets as, ladies and gentlemen, it has been made official. Sting's first match in AEW. And according to what I heard, it will be cinematic. But it will be Brian Cage and Ricky Starks with Taz taking on Sting and the TNT champion Darby Allin in a street fight at AEW Revolution in March. This is sure to be interesting. Brad, give me your thoughts on this dynamic with Sting and Darby Allin. The fact this match could be cinematic, I'm really wondering here who's going to do more of the work. I know Sting really, I think, is ready for this because he wants cinematic matches. And honestly, Team Taz, you got to imagine that Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs are going to be involved.
I'm going to start by talking about the 2 promos that we saw. I know I'm probably going to jump ahead of myself a little bit because Team Taz appeared later in the segment, but on Dynamite. But those promos had a very vintage, old school 1997 WCW type feel, and it was done in a very, very good way. It just reminded me of seeing Sting in the like the old abandoned warehouses. Like Sting is coming. Yeah, he hadn't wrestled for years, and here we haven't seen him on TNT in years. I thought that was kind of a clever little way of reintroducing him back to coming to the ring on the part of AEW, and then him being with Darby, those 2 gimmicks together on screen, and you see the parallels with how they just do things, but they're still very distinctive. Darby's got the skateboard and Sting's got his baseball bat. You go back months ago, I think it was Tony Schiavone on commentary that said that Darby Allin was like a young Sting. And just to see those 2 side by side is just it's almost like you still can't believe that those 2 are together.
Yeah.
Then you've got Team Taz, who I know we're going to touch on this later, but their segment, their promo for this match felt very much like what the NWO did, throwing people into like a semi, tearing up, merchandise, that sort of thing.
Breaking wood, breaking bodies, leaving their mark.
Yeah, it was a very nice build. It felt real. It felt like the tension's there. You can cut it with a knife. I'm excited for this match. I know that there's going to be fans out there that are going to have their worries or criticisms because Sting is 61 years old. But at the same time, this is going to be cinematic. It's more than likely going to be pre-taped. I think that we can see a great match coming from these 4. I'm interested to see how it's going to compare to some of the previous cinematic matches we've seen, particularly with Matt Hardy's recent cinematic match in AEW, and then the Inner Circle taking on the Elite in the Stadium Stampede match.
And I got to be honest. Right now, still nothing is topping that Stadium Stampede. I don't think this is going to either. But again, the thing about all these cinematic matches so far under AEW, they each had a different approach and feel.
Yeah,
and I respect that. But this one right here is going to be very interesting to me because more so, I just want to know how physically involved Sting is going to be. And it's not like Sting is doing this for himself or burying a younger talent, not endorsing or investing in the future, unlike something else, but we'll talk about that on another day and another platform. But I digress. Yeah, I've seen the chats and I know what people are thinking. Up yours, you're wrong, deal with it. Bottom line, I'm very curious where this is going to go, and I'm sure we'll get more built towards this. Maybe Sting and Taz finally come face to face and literally talk to each other without the baseball bat because Taz just, he wants to take the higher road. There's going to be some interesting angles heading up towards Revolution after Beach Break, clearly, because I feel like this is going to take a breather for Beach Break. But again, we'll talk more about that later. And overall, I'm just really curious, does this also help set up the next challenger for the TNT title? And will it be somebody else from Team Taz or somebody we don't expect? Well, there's going to be another member of Team Taz maybe that gets involved here, make their debut for Team Taz. And does that set up the next challenger for the TNT title as well? Or do you bring it back another ghost from the past to make things even in your favor against Sting? Like, who can overcome Sting? Just saying, there's a lot of unknowns here, and I like that sense of surprise, because I honestly don't know which way this match could go. And again, it's a cinematic, so it's not even a normal match, but still, wins and losses matter. It's going to matter who wins this, no matter what. It's not going to be like to be continued. So, with that being said, this interesting feud, we're going to have to wait and see where this goes. And I don't think it's going to go to Brooklyn. All right. Speaking of which, where someone has to go, where something might go, let's talk about a lone cowboy. Where does he go? Where is his home? For the last couple of weeks, we've wondered what Hangman Adam Page's future in AEW will involve. And who am I involved with him? We thought for sure maybe it was the Dark Order, as they did celebrate -1 birthday 2 weeks ago, until Chaos Project tried to ruin that. But the Dark Order and Adam Page, they won a match against Chaos Project and TH2. -1 had a positive birthday, and then literally John Silver proposed to the Hangman, will you join the Dark Order? And while it looked like he was going to, he felt that he couldn't. Not that he just straight up said no, but he couldn't because of what's happened with his past. The last time he was with a so-called family or group of people, he was left high and dry. He was left betrayed. He was left basically in the shadows. And as much as he respected what the Dark Order did for him among BT as well, making him feel like one of theirs, he's just not ready to connect, not necessarily commit, but connect back with that. So he goes his own way with a champagne bottle, not a glass of whiskey, and we haven't seen him. But then fast forward to this Wednesday, he takes on the Hollywood Hunk, what a weird nickname, Dolph Ziggler's brother, Ryan Nemeth. Pretty good singles match. I gotta give Ryan credit. He's pretty good in the ring. Him and Adam Page, though, he of course gets the win. Buckshot lariat. But what's interesting here is during this match, somebody comes out to support or watch on, but big money, Matt Hardy. Now, before him and Adam Page just goes back, by the way, through the tunnel without a drink, I've noticed lately. He has not been leaving this place or entering this place with a drink. So I really am wondering, is he trying to clear his head and really figure it out himself? Matt Hardy simply says that zero attachments. I just want to offer you support, a sense of welcome. Know that I respect you. He talked about how he sees him now dressing in the hallways by catering. He's out there by himself. He understands what he's going through. Because again, Matt Hardy and him, they were part of course, that Stadium Stampede match and part of the Elite where they won. Now they're both doing their own thing, but Heyman is literally on his own. So more so, Dark Order offered family. Matt Hardy is offering support, but this is big money, Matt. I don't trust him. But Tony Schiavone wonders if you should take him on this offer. Now, will we see shares of that maybe this week on Dynamite? Will he literally be there with Matt Hardy, who has a giant locker room and like dressing in there? Will Matt Hardy like acknowledge that and further entice Adam Page in his own way? Something has to give here, but eventually, him and Adam Page, I feel he needs to find somebody to connect with. And maybe it's going to be somebody from a different company based on what we've seen, but I don't know. Give me your thoughts on the Hangman's mind right now. I mean, anxious millennial cowboy, sober cowboy at this point. What do you think is going through like Adam Page's mind at this point? And do you think he should take up Matt Hardy's support?
Well, Hangman Page's character has, in my opinion, the most potential that they can do with from a storyline perspective. He was a tag team champion with Kenny Omega, who's the current world champion. Had a great run, a series of great matches. He's got that loner sort of vibe that's somewhat of an anti-hero, but people still really, really get behind.
Mm-hmm.
You've teased a potential joining with the Dark Order. Now you have big money Matt Hardy coming out to try to, sweet talk him, so to say. I'm thinking long-term booking here with what I'm about to say, but in the past on Spark, I've talked about if Kenny Omega wins the AEW championship, which he did, beat Jon Moxley. To me, the next logical choice for champion would be for Omega to drop to Hangman. You really build up Hangman's character. This could be a great underdog story where you really have him go through some turmoil, have him make a comeback. Maybe he makes a mistake and goes with big money Matt for a little while. He realizes his worth, that he's being cheated. You get some sort of feud. And with the Dark Order on the rise in popularity with fans and with the support they've got, what a story would it be for Hangman to go through these struggles, join the Dark Order, find community. Then, as a red hot babyface, he comes in and he is the challenger for the world title, and he takes that off Kenny Omega, and there's a Dark Order hoisting him on their shoulders. Can you imagine what a reaction that would be? Especially if we can get fans back in the arena for the time for that to happen. I mean, they could build this over. If they want to make Omega a long-term champion, which I foresee that happening, you could easily build that up in 9 months to a year's time, and the fans would be all over. I would certainly.
I would definitely be. But imagine this. Imagine if they did like all the way up maybe to All Out this year. 2 years since Hangman Page has been a part of AEW's inaugural All Out, where he lost the chance to be the inaugural AEW champion to Chris Jericho. So there is a lot of that foundation right there where you could have a huge closing story moment, and then him joining the Dark Order, the Dark Order maybe helping him against like all of this still. Like they've just definitely been a part, but Dark Order just out of nowhere. John Silver of all people helps him and Adam Page do this. That would be an incredible story, because I feel like John Silver right now, he does feel hurt, but I don't see the Dark Order feuding with the Cowboy. I really don't. And right now, I just feel like right now they're going to do this interim program with him and Adam Page and Matt Hardy. That might come down to a singles grudge match. But right now, the Hangman, he's just literally riding alone at this point. And I'm just really curious where the story does go from here, and if that is the end game, because I feel that does make the most sense because of his involvement as a character. And how crazy would it be if he was the guy to take the title off Kenny Omega come the end of Omega's reign, which I'm sure is going to go longer than Jon Moxley, because I feel that's going to be AEW's plan with everything Omega is doing right now as the champion. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. All right, so let's go ahead and move into this next topic. That I simply am just going to say this. Cargill and Shaq's attack. As we got intergender warfare on hand here with the Nightmare Family, Cody and Brandy Rhodes, basically having it against now Shaq and Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill looking for her in-ring debut, and Shaq, of course, who basically wants a piece of Cody, so they called him Punk. I was like, really? And this all really escalated during the AEW Awards, where Shaq was presenting an AEW award and basically calling Cody out. Okay. Next thing you know, we really thought this was really going to reach a boiling point last week, the week before last week, excuse me, where Pretty Peter Avalon, of all people, is taking on Cody in a match on Dynamite. And again, I was underestimating this. I was like, going to be squashed. But thanks to Jade Cargill wrinkle, it turned out to be a longer match than I thought. But and I feel a little bit unnecessary. But the story on it was there. And Arn Anderson apparently chewed Cody out for underestimating Peter Avalon. So is the story. So Arn basically led this match and this focus going forward, as we saw in this promo last week on Dynamite. Arn basically saying that, okay, Cody, this is what I believe you need to focus on. You got to align your mind. I know you care about this canvas, but also you're going to be a dad. And that's got to be the most important thing. But you still got a while yet until your child comes into the world. So you want to go after this, but you don't have that big marquee type match moment like you did against MJF at Revolution. Here's what I'm thinking. Boom. Because Brandy couldn't be a part of it. Straight up fire in Red Velvet comes out. Says she's going to kick that bitch ass. Damn. And basically right now we have an impromptu intergender match probably on our hands for Revolution. It will involve mainstream attention with Shaq. It will involve basically that foundation of AEW, Cody. And then you have the debuting powerhouse, Jade Cargill, it seems, taking on up-and-comer, straight up, fiery, ready to stir it up, Red Velvet. A lot of combustible elements, it seems, in this match. But it looks like we're getting a mixed tag team match at Revolution. Now, I haven't looked at Twitter lately to see if Shaq and Jade Cargill accepted, but I figured it'd be foolish if this wasn't signed off. And more so, I'm just curious, what the hell is Shaq capable of in a freaking wrestling ring, knowing that at one point, people wanted to see him take on Big Show, and Vince never let that happen. That really are false in this entire intergender storyline. I don't know about you, but I feel the only one that really needs to, what's the word I'm looking for? Benefit from this is Jade Cargill, because she's the one right now that has yet to be really in the ring to show what she's going to do. And she's going to be a foundation, I feel like, of AEW's women's division. And then you got Red Velvet, who really has made major strides since being a part of AEW, it seems. And honestly, I see a lot in her, too. And the fact that she's finding next to the side of Cody on Brandy's behalf, it also brings back that subtle understory about Vicky Guerrero versus Brandy, whose manager style is better, who's the better businesswoman. And I almost got to wonder if Vicky Guerrero is going to be involved in this some way, somehow, too. The whole Shaq versus Cody thing, I simply see that as mainstream attention, like with the Go Big Show and Snoop Dogg and all the presenters of the AEW Awards, which we'll slowly talk about later. But give me your thoughts overall about this match. What do you think about this? Does this kind of excite you, intrigue you? Do you want to see Shaq involved in the ring with Cody? Give me your thoughts on all this.
Well, I think Cody Rhodes can make anybody look good in the ring. He's that good. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world today. So if we were to see Shaq and Cody in the ring, I think at the worst we get a decent match. But I think that the key ingredient here is Red Velvet and Jade Cargill.
Mm-hmm.
The point that I was going to make, you kind of already said, it's that Shaq is there to really help bring mainstream attention. Also with, you got the likes of Snoop Dogg coming out and Cody promoting, Go Big Show. AEW wants to build their fan base, and they're looking at every opportunity and avenue that they can. And Shaq is well known in the world of basketball. He would bring fans in. It would give people a second thought about, tuning into Dynamite on Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, we'll get an intergender match between Cody and Red Velvet against Jade Cargill and Shaq, and you can expect the majority of the match and really the deciding factor to be between Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. Those two are going to be the ones that really are going to be carrying the match in terms of story per se, and I think that that's going to be absolutely good for the women's division of AEW, because I think Red Velvet has a lot of talent. So AEW is looking at this opportunity, in my opinion, from multiple avenues. They're looking at it as a way to bring mainstream attention. They're looking as a way to help show that they've got one of the best wrestlers in the world that can work with anybody. But they're also developing their women's division, and you get two talents in there. One that we know is going to be, it has shown herself on Dark to be very good. Another who is supposedly up and coming. This could be a giant win for them if they do it right and they pull it off well.
Indeed. And at the end of the day, you want to protect Shaq's identity. You also want to, of course, respect the value of Cody, but you also want to elevate the game of your women's division, which I feel like should be the biggest focus out of this match. And I feel Jade Cargill, Red Velvet, the fiery attitude involved in the promo game alone should bring a lot to the ring. And super curious what Jade Cargill brings to the ring too, knowing that she's been trained, of course, with Dustin Rhodes. So I'm intrigued to this by a multiple number of fronts, and most curious, what the hell is the Shaq attack? But again, I guess we'll find out soon enough, because I think it's safe to say this match might as well be called official. But again, I digress. All right, let's go into a simpler tangent here, because when it comes to AEW, we have seen how they have really changed the game when it comes to what you might expect from somebody you've seen previously and how it kind of went, or what you think might be a flop, whether it's talk show, political segment, or some sort of cinematic segment, or as we've seen now, Broadway musical. Well, we are finally going to see now what they can do with a foundation of wrestling that always ends in a car crash finale. As the wedding of AEW and the so-called wedding of the year is upon us, as Miro, the boss man, he hosts the wedding of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. And they will have a butler with them in one Charles Taylor, who apparently now has claimed that Miro is his best friend. Ouch. To freaking Orange Cassidy's heart. And this really was brought forward a couple weeks ago after the impromptu match Penelope Ford legit laid on first. Awesome match, by the way, where Charles did help Penelope Ford get the win. Now, I don't know about y'all knowing that Trent is out indefinitely, but I still see Orange Cassidy coming out to this thing, not necessarily objecting to the wedding, but subtly telling Miro off in his own Orange Cassidy way. And I honestly, Brad, I see this being the angle that finally sets up Miro versus Orange Cassidy at Revolution. Now, give me your thoughts on you think about this wedding build so far. Do you think it's kind of like been, up to snuff? Has it been a bit undervalued? Do you feel like Miro right now has kind of been, what spot monkeyed to this? Give me your thoughts on this whole thing.
I think the attention of the wedding should be on the bride and groom, which in this case would be Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. But the whole focus really has been more on Miro and Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there's going to be a wedding, but what's going to happen at the wedding, I think, is going to be the big question.
Exactly. How's this end? Does someone go face first in the cake? Does someone like you think about all the ways we've seen in the WWE, in Impact Wrestling, in so many other wrestling companies? We've seen drive-thrus, we've seen interruptions, we've seen weapons, we've seen explosions, we've seen heart attacks, we've seen murders on screen, we've seen Priest, Tombstone. What the hell is AEW going to do here that will make this memorable in a good way? Is the ultimate question that I pose now to you.
Well, to me, they'd have to compete with the segment where, Edge gets in a bed with Lita inside a ring. I mean, that was probably the most over the top wedding segment I've seen on any kind of wrestling show.
The live sex celebration. Good
yeah.
Vince. What the hell were you on that night?
Yeah, so they're going to have to make it memorable in a positive light to where fans would be like, man, that was so good. That was so awesome. And I think that I think the best way to do that is you're going to have that classic Bridezilla moment. I think Penelope Ford could pull that off, but Orange Cassidy is going to get involved in some way. And I mean, we saw him spill orange juice all over the inner circle. I'm sure he's got some kind of trick up his sleeve.
Yeah, and I'm sure Orange Cassidy is singing from what Miro made Chuck say, or excuse me, Charles, because I'm pretty sure Charles did not freaking authenticate that at all. All right? And I'm sure Charles cannot wait to go back to being Chuck Taylor and literally kick Miro in the face, which I feel is going to be an impromptu match. Something's got to give. I'm just more so wondering who's going to be a part of this thing, okay? Who's going to be the bridesmaid? Who's going to be the leading correspondent? Who's going to coordinate this thing? Tony Schiavone? Who's going to freaking be in the audience for this? Well, I guess we all cordially are going to be. But again, there's something about this that humors me, but also I'm like, really? And at this point,
yeah.
I just don't know. But again, it's AEW. So far, they have surprised me with non-wrestling segments to remember. So we'll just have to wait and see, including, of course, Ladina Debonair, led by MJF and Chris Jericho of the Inner Circle. As we look at the Inner Circle debacle, and at the heart of it, literally, it's MJF and Sammy Guevara. As we finally now know the definitive tag team representation of the Inner Circle from 2 weeks ago, with Wardlow's subtle help. And honestly, that triple threat Inner Circle tag team match, it wasn't that bad. I didn't hate it. But it did not need to be the main event, in my opinion. And I feel like, again, that was one of the reasons why people kind of like on that week's episode of Dynamite. But anyway, it was obvious that Jericho and MJF were going to win this thing here because right now it's the idea of Sammy feeling betrayed and basically not being listened to. And it kind of worked in that favor as Sammy Guevara was the ace in this match, in my opinion. He was the star performer, but he also was the guy that ate the fall via roll up with tights by MJF. So now MJF and Jericho are the definitive team. They took on the Varsity Blondes in a really good match. Call back to Garrison and MJF's singles match, I might add. And once again, in the end, by the way, Sammy's subtly cheering for the Varsity Blondes at some point. I don't know if people caught that or not. In the end, MJF and Jericho, they did win, but MJF also said after this match, he talked to you, Sammy. As he tries to go backstage and talk to Sammy one-on-one, show how sympathetic he is, wants to be his friend, don't want to be no hard feelings regarding what happened. I even doubt one of those pegged. Yeah, right. Sammy's like, I see this, all right? And MJF's like, want to play this game? Sammy's like, I'm already playing it. Look, MJF and Sammy, it's got to be coming. Sammy's babyface run has got to be coming, in my opinion. And I feel like Sammy's on his way out of the Inner Circle. But this is getting more and more enticing by the week. And I'm just waiting for the one moment that finally blows it off sky high to the point Jericho either gets taken out or Jericho inadvertently takes out Sammy and then doesn't regret it and has the Inner Circle does the rest. Brad, give me your thoughts on this whole Inner Circle debacle right now. I feel like, again, Sammy is going to break away. We're just waiting for the match to happen. This has to be the match coming at a Revolution. And honestly, Proud and Powerful, I kind of feel bad for them. And Hager, yeah, he's got a spine background. He's doing his own thing. But give me your thoughts on this whole entire storyline and setup so far.
Well, it's interesting because months ago we were talking about, is the Inner Circle going to break up? And they kind of teased it, but they went on. Well, now you've thrown an actual wrench into the plans of the Inner Circle. Enter MJF and Wardlow. So we know that MJF, he's a snake in the grass. That's what he's doing right now. He's in everything he's doing right now. He's in for himself. he's in cahoots with Jericho. He's in his favor. They are the tag team of the Inner Circle that's looking to take, the tag team belts at some point. Sammy Guevara is been a loyal follower. He's questioning the loyalty of MJF. We know that he's dedicated to the cause, what Jericho stands for, what they originally established as. I think that we're going to see a match. And I don't know if Sammy will win that match, but I think he will come out babyface in the end. And I think that MJF, his involvement will lead to the eventual demise of the Inner Circle.
Yeah, like recreating his own image. Maybe the Hammerstone guy that people want to see from MLW finally gets involved here. MJF recreates his own Inner Circle. Someone's got to give here, but I feel like the Inner Circle is not going to be the same come the end of first quarter 2021. Just saying. All right. Well, again, we can talk about the Inner Circle all day and all night as far as maybe who should be the Inner Circle, who should leave the Inner Circle, what should the Inner Circle become, should the Inner Circle no longer exist, et cetera. But again, that's a topic for a whole nother platform, maybe for another day, maybe its own Spark special. But something that we can talk about maybe all day and all night is my match of the week. And good God Almighty, if Jungle Boy is not a future AEW World Champion, then you guys are stuck in gear stupid. I've already given highlights, outlooks, and talk about and freaking Marvinello exposed type commentary for this match via chat and Twitter. So, Brad, I'm just giving this entire thing to you because it's rare that we see tag team specialist Dax Harwood in a singles match. It's even rare to see Jungle Boy in a singles match. And we know what he's incredibly capable of. And this match right here has got to be the best singles match we've seen so far from Dynamite this year outside Omega and Phoenix. Holy hell. Take it away. Your thoughts on this. My goodness.
So to start out, we have to remind ourselves that a great tag team is made up of not just one, but two great wrestlers. And the unfortunate thing is, because tag team is involving multiple parties, we don't always get to really see the full capability of one set individual in a match because it's about their chemistry and working together.
Exactly.
That all being said, I've always been a fan of Dax Harwood. I love Cash Wheeler too, but you can go back to their WWE days as a Revival. I thought Dax was always a great technical wrestler. Cash has great chemistry with him, but holy shit, was that a textbook wrestling match for the ages. I'm shocked that Dave Meltzer only gave that 4.5 stars out of 5.
Dave Meltzer only gave it. Dave Meltzer graded this 4.5?
Yeah.
That's impressive for a TV match, regardless. But again, Meltzer bias. But continue.
That was perfect storytelling. Just the build up to the match itself with FTR constantly getting victories, but Tully Blanchard always being by their side. So you get Luchasaurus to basically keep Cash and Tully handcuffed him at ringside. It was just a combination of styles. You got Dash, who's that very skilled technical wrestler. Jungle Boy is very athletic, very agile. I mean, it was just near fall after near fall, reversal after reversal, high spot after high spot. You just didn't know when it was going to end. I think that is the closest, near fall. I mean, that was literally, I think when, I don't remember who pinned who. I think it may have been Dash pinning Jungle Boy, but one of them kicked out. It was like 2.99.
Yeah, literally, as the commentary said, I was like, "It's over here." What? He kicked out?
Yeah.
I was like, "Holy hell!"
Yeah, I mean, that was literally saving themselves by the skin of their teeth. I can't remember who it was, but then you got the fans singing Jungle Boy's new theme song.
I'm not gonna lie, it's extremely catchy. It might become the new.
Yeah, it's catchy. It's fun
because now you got MJF and Jericho's theme mixed together at a faster pace. Though Judah still takes over, it seems, but I think Jungle Boy might surpass that.
Then you got the aftermath of the match with Tully and Cash breaking free, finally getting involved. They cut off the horns of Luchasaurus's mask. Then you've got Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian coming out with Marco Stunt for the save. There's definitely future matches in the works. It's far from over. I think Dax Wheeler is going to have a potential singles run in the future. He's crazy talented. Jungle Boy is going to have a singles run that's going to be very, very strong. Both, I think, should be future TNT champions for sure at some point. Jungle Boy I could definitely see as an AEW champion in the future. Would love to see Dax, but regardless, bright futures for both guys in this company.
Again, this match was my match of the week. My God, you talk about high octane, fast-paced, calculated, technical, counterintuitive wrestling with some of the closest near falls I've seen in a long time. And people were already going like, "Oh Lord, you gotta be kidding me with this freaking gimmick at ringside." Because it was announced the day of basically that Luchasaurus was going to be handcuffed to both Tully and Cash, keeping them at bay. But honestly, that worked in favor towards the match as far as the storytelling goes, because we were on the edge of our seat seeing who the hell could win this freaking thing. It started out slow as both men, of course, go for a lockup, trying to control the other, ground the other, start with a mat game. We had a side headlock and then a takeover. Things really picked up from there, and then basically Jungle Boy, every time he tried to garner some sort of momentum, Dax and his technical background, like you said, he held him down. There was a shoulder tackle, as he once again showed, I'm the stronger guy here. But then Jungle Boy, again, drop kick out of nowhere. And then he looked for what has been lately Jungle Boy's ace in the hole, that submission, the snare trap. As the match progressed, we constantly saw Jungle Boy focusing on that arm. Literally, he was setting up towards that, it seems. Very smart maneuvering. And again, Tully and Cash, they were just like, I don't like this. They wanted to get into this. Lucha was like, nope, I'm keeping you at bay. And literally, as this continued, we get a ridiculous back elbow strike and then a front elbow to Dax. Talk about a double hitter. Jungle Boy then goes to the top rope, but Dax, he knocks him down and then literally plants him with a back suplex off the top rope. Of all people on the top rope, because again, he's supposed to be no flips, just fits. Dax with a top rope super power maneuver for a really good near fall, keyword near fall. But Dax kind of hurt his shoulder as well, which hindered him capitalizing on that move too. I almost wondered if it wasn't for the way Dax landed, if the match would have ended right at that moment. But then again, Harwood, he drove the sole of his boot into Jungle Boy's head repeatedly, basically getting into Jungle Boy's head, literally and psychologically. But Jungle Boy, of course, this just fired the young, let's just call him the missing link at this point, because this guy, unbelievable for his age, okay? He fired back ridiculous hard shots, a European uppercut combination, and then he catches him with a super kick. But Dax then levels Jungle Boy with a ridiculous lariat that would make Brody Lee proud. It wasn't even a discus, but that boy got turned inside out, upside down. And at this point, you just wondered, who the hell could capitalize here? And then Jungle Boy, he reverses a powerbomb attempt into a near fall on Dax, but then he tries again to go for a slingshot, but then Dax plants Jungle Boy with a Liger Bomb, literally the closest near fall of the match. I was like, this is it, it's gotta be over. Are you kidding me, freaking Paul Turner? What the hell? As Dax is literally like, what the world has whipped this guy? Why would he stay down? We get a dragon suplex attempt with the damaged arm, though, from earlier. Could not pull it off. Too much. Jungle Boy escapes, and then ridiculous backstabber. Ouch. And then follows up with some German suplexes until Dax finally grabs the ropes and literally mule kicks him in the face for some separation. Jungle Boy, though, he fires back with his own clothesline, and then literally, after Dax with a little bit of wrestling ingenuity, he fakes out Jungle Boy, spikes him with a freaking DDT, stood him upright, but again, Jungle Boy will not relent. He will not quit. He kicks out. And then this was really cool here. Both these men just went for pinfall, pinfall, pinfall. It was a series of reversals until finally the work done to the shoulder and the arm, it caught up to Dax. Jungle Boy locked in that snare trap. And this was the point that literally Luchasaurus, he finally came into play and he did prevent those two from getting involved. And Dax had no choice but to tap out. That right there, folks, is professional wrestling. What an incredible match. Both these men are going to be killer single elite stars in all elite wrestling in the future. Guarantee you. And it looked like at the end of the day, I feel like these two got a respect for each other in the ring. But FTR, they're not one to take a loss likely, especially under these circumstances being handcuffed. As, of course, once they were freed by AEW officials, well, they basically got their best revenge. After some powder in the face by Tully Blanchard, 3-on-1 assault on Jungle Boy. Literally, they lock the dinosaur in the ropes. And as you said, when they handcuff him, they take his horns away from his mask. I'm not sure how happy Luchasaurus is going to be with that once he gains consciousness. And then the ultimate crime for every fan of Jungle Boy out there, female-wise, it looked like they were about to cut the man's freaking hair until, like you said, Marco and SCU, they came down for the save. And imagine if they did that, the internet would have freaking gyrated FTR. Yeah. They would have became the biggest heels in the business. Absolutely incredible match. I'm very curious to see where this tag feud, though, goes from here. And my God, Dax Harwood, who knew he was this capable as a singles competitor until now? There's a reason why they preserve tag team specialists in singles matches, and more so people like Jungle Boy for singles matches under the right circumstances. Absolutely freaking incredible. But I have a feeling that FTR and Jungle Boy are far from done with each other. Good Lord. All right. Well, as we move on from a mat-based classic, before we go into our all-around discussion of the women's division, what has been, what's to come, what we hope for, let's go ahead and talk about something else, because the women's division, is it fine? Not quite. But is the elite fine? Now, we've seen now the Young Bucks confront Don Callis literally at, I guess, Kenny Omega's house. And now we've seen this weird art of Don Callis and Kenny Omega on muscular bodies that they now put on a t-shirt for $30. I'm not buying that thing. And literally, it's like Don Callis is basically saying, you guys are leeches, okay? Leave Omega to his family, all right? He needs his family now, not his friends. And basically, after trying to, like, buy them out, some subtle negotiation, banter galore, Don Callis, basically, he can't get the better of the Young Bucks. His silver tongue didn't work this time, nor his bottomless wallet. I guess he got a bump or something. Omega sees this, and, well, basically, he goes into a bit of a tirade. He's a little bit PO'd. And we go a week later, and we find Don Callis with more bandages than a mummy right now for the smallest bruise. Good grief, man. Talk about overkill. And we find out, of course, that the Elite altogether, Good Brothers and Young Bucks, they take on the Dark Order in an 8-man tag main event. The Dark Order now coming out of the face tunnel. Brad, the Dark Order are faces? What? Are you kidding me right now? And literally that was the case because literally the Dark Order are fighting for AEW, the brand, and for their family, themselves. And my gosh, I know we have 4 people here. Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, Alex Rales, John Silver. But can I not say enough good things about Stu Grayson and John freaking Silver in this match? Those 2 right there are breakout single stars. Those 2 right there are probably 2 of my favorite members of the Dark Order, next to On Again. Basically, we had a subtle because everyone talks about John Silver for his size, should not be this strong, but you're also not this tall. We start, of course, with Big LG literally taunting John Silver, but then he gets a little bit too much in his own head and goes to John Silver's level on his knees, and John Silver makes him pay for it. John Silver gets some good blows in, but then the Elite, they take over. As the match later progresses, though, we get some great dynamic tag team offense. At one point later, the Good Brothers and Young Bucks literally synchronized in the offense they are given the Dark Order until hot tag to John Silver being a human cannonball, literally 4-1 assaulting out everybody. The dude is freaking insane, okay? And then Stu Grayson gets a hot tag later. Literally, we think the Dark Order are going to beat the Elite. They hit fatality. Oh, broken up. And then, of course, as we go towards the end of the match, after the incredible dynamic tag team match galore, of course, we knew the Elite were going to win here because there's no way you're going to let the champs of either Impact or AEW lose this match based on the story being told right now and what's to come at Beach Break, as we'll slowly talk about. Because at the end of the day, Magic Killer takes out freaking Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson falls towards the Meltzer driver. And of course, Young Bucks get the win here over the Dark Order. But good Lord, John Silver, freaking Stu Grayson. That was freaking incredible. And I can't believe it right now. The Dark Order are now faces. I support them and cheer them. What? What world am I living in? This is wrestling, but this is wrestling beyond what I would normally see. And this is booking I'm actually okay with. Brad, your thoughts on just this main event match. The Dark Order, wow.
Well, the thing is, the Dark Order, we've talked about where do they go from the passing of Mr. Brody Lee, what's in store for them next, how do they recover, how do they bounce back. Honestly, the members of the Dark Order who have carried on have really shown a lot of stride, and they've been better than they've ever been in terms of their in-ring performances. I mean, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, I've always thought was a really tight tag team, but man, have they been on fire lately. And then being able to go toe-to-toe with the Elite and the Good Brothers, that's impressive. It was a very, very strong main event. Great way to close the show. I thought all the tag teams, all the guys involved looked great. I expected a little bit more back and forth bantering between the Good Brothers and the Elite. We didn't really see that, but
we did see a 4-corner super kick party though.
And that was beautiful.
That was crazy.
That was that was a snapshot moment, but what really got me was the aftermath of the match.
Yeah. The Young Bucks gave a proclamation, and then somebody gave their own physical declaration. So go ahead, Brad, and take us away on the closing moments of AEW Dynamite and your thoughts.
Well, at the end, you see Kenny Omega come out, and only to be attacked by Jon Moxley.
Paradigm shift, spiked straight upright. The way he sold that is like he was stiff straight, and then his body just suddenly. That was brilliant selling.
Yeah.
He tried to hit him with that boot. He was just a little too slow. As Ray Phoenix, Jon Moxley, they came out for some comeuppance against the Good Brothers, particularly as the Young Bucks. They were nowhere to be seen. And but before we didn't see no more of the Young Bucks, they did make a declaration as we head towards Beach Break. This coming week at Beach Break, there will be a number 1 contenders over the top rope tag team battle royale. And the Young Bucks are in it. The thing is, the Young Bucks win it, they get to choose the opponents they face at AEW Revolution for their titles. And they suddenly look at the Good Brothers and their titles. So now we have this idea tease about maybe title for titles at AEW Revolution. So now you gotta wonder how the Good Brothers feel about that, how Omega feel about that, how Don Callis feels about that too. But of course, I feel at the end of the day, the only opinion right now is Kenny Omega, and I'm sure when he gains consciousness, he'll have a lot to say because he has something his own to prepare for too. But Yeah, this was a really great main event. I definitely like this more than the triple threat inner circle attack from the previous week. Some
Yeah,
very fun spots. I'm
definitely.
very surprised how well the Good Brothers and the Elite worked together. I wasn't surprised at all how well the Dark Order worked together, of course, because, well, the Dark Order, they're family. But again, out of the four, Stu Grayson, John Silver, MVPs of the freaking entire match, period. With that being said, we're just going to have to wait and see how this all pans out as we head towards Beach Break. But before we get to there, there's still one more thing I know you wanted to subtly talk about before we preview and predict Beach Break. So let's go ahead and subtly talk about the AEW Women's Division and what's been going on with it. As we subtly talked about 2 weeks ago, we had an impromptu match, legit Leyla Hirsch, Penelope Ford. Originally, it was supposed to be Nyla Rose, but please get well soon. COVID restrictions, being quarantined for safety of her and others, respect. Also, this past week, we had, of course, our DBC girl, Shana. She literally had a good match. Welcome back to Diamond, by the way. Been long enough. Against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And, of course, this was to hype up Beach Break as well, because, as we know, at Beach Break, it will be the good doctor, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, finally taking on the time for talking is over. You got to put up or shut up for your sake of your teeth, probably, too. Thunder Rosa. This was a really good back and forth match, but again, it was stuck in that little bubble. And again, if Reba wasn't there, I feel like the result would have been very different, especially after Reba saved Britt from the first drop kick into the ropes, even though Shana was able to hit the drop kick later. Of course, Tiger Driver, but Baker counters and literally traps her into, of course, that lethal submission hold with a pink glove, the lockjaw. And then for added injury afterwards, she tries locking the lockjaw again. Thunder Rosa sends Britt Baker packing. So for somebody that feels so confident, so in control, feels like that she is the face of the women's division, though you're not the champion, and feels like that, okay, Thunder Rosa don't belong here, I can beat Thunder Rosa. She sure got the hell out of there as soon as Thunder Rosa made her presence known. So before we talk about this division in general and so much more to go with, and including a tournament and the first match being announced, Brad, of course, it's Dr. Talk. So give me your thoughts on Britt Baker and her match. And how do you feel right now she is prepared for Beach Break?
Well, the match of Jungle Boy and Dax Harwood was my favorite match of the week, bar none. Now, I have not seen the match with Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston, so this is subject to change. Right. But as of right now, the match with Shana and Dr. Britt Baker was my second favorite match of the week. I absolutely loved it. I think that Britt Baker, she played a great heel. She really did a lot of great work in helping to what's the word I'm looking for here? Just help choreograph everything that was going on in the ring. But Shauna just followed right along. And Shauna is so into her character. And as a big Dragon Ball fan,
there you go.
I loved it. Just the little things that she did, just the way that she would get up as quickly as she would, holding her hands up in the air to do the spirit bomb.
Yeah. Then she just goes for that drop kick. That was a great back and forth, a snap action too. I mean, at one point, literally, Shana hits Baker with a ridiculous step of insecurity. Britt Baker, she subtly smiles. She feels she's in control. I'm the role model. People believe in me. I own the ring. And she always did everything to the camera too. I like how she turned the lockjaw before she locked it in to the camera. So literally, she was sending a statement, it seemed, directly to Thunder Rosa. Again, Britt Baker, strongest character development in AEW's women's division since day one. But Shana, absolutely rocked her a couple of good times here during this match.
I normally look to WWE for a great women's match. Impact Wrestling has got some great talent in the Knockouts division, but I will say that AEW, in my opinion, had the best women's wrestling match all week. Everything I've seen. It just did it for me.
And again, long overdue to see Shana. I think that's subtle and simple. And again, Thunder Rosa, she is nobody to take back. So, Britt, you better figure out a strong game plan to beat this woman.
Rosa.
I love the theme. But speaking of which, we also got themes of women's wrestling being more evolved, more of a focal point, taken more seriously and being really taken into consideration now in AEW. As of course, we had the announcement now of the AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament and our first match announced for it. Welcome back, Riho. as she takes on NWA Women's World Champion Serena Deeb. This match is extremely interesting to me for a number of reasons. One, we have not seen Riho in a long time. She's been involved in Stardom. She's also the inaugural AEW Women's Champion. And then, of course, yes, Serena Deeb has been a huge strength pillar and foundation of this women's division. And this is probably the first time I think these two have ever squared up with each other one-on-one. I'm very curious now if Riho beats Serena Deeb. Not only does that mean she goes forward in the tournament, could this mean maybe down the line she gets an NWA Women's Championship opportunity? I'm looking very forward to this match. Give me your thoughts on this match, Dr. Brad. Coming soon, of course.
I think that Riho actually has the most to prove in this match. Some may disagree because she was the inaugural AEW Women's Champion, but we've not seen her on TV in quite a while. Right. Serena Deeb knocked off Thunder Rosa in recent history for the NWA Women's title, and Thunder Rosa is one of the best women's wrestlers today. So for Serena Deeb to have that on her track record and with the quality matches she's had recently, Riho's going to have the most to prove coming back. My opinion, I feel that Riho will take this victory. I don't think it's going to hurt Serena Deeb to take a loss here. She'll still have that title. I think that Riho is going to give a good run. I don't see her being the number one contender, but I think she'll go pretty far.
That's fair. And again, we don't know 14 of the other women involved in this. And according to the Flash, there's going to be a lot more maybe Joshi Pro influence, thank you, Kenny Omega, involved in this tournament as well. I'm curious to see who else might be involved in it. Now, before we go into our beach break and aftershock thoughts, I know you still have more on your mind regarding the women's division, so please elaborate. Ladies and gentlemen, the doctor's address to women's wrestling in AEW.
So I think for the longest time that women's wrestling in AEW has been considered the low point, the weak point, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. It's an aspect of AEW that's needed the most development. It seems like on some of their, more recent pay-per-views, usually the weaker matches are usually the women's wrestling matches. Even on Dynamite too. Now, Dark, you have some good matches. But a lot of times when discussing who has the best women's division in the world right now, a lot of people say WWE. And WWE has done a great job developing their women's division. But you look at what...
But anyway, continue.
Yeah. Yeah, but you look at what's been done. You have Riho as the inaugural champion, Nyla Rose, the first heel champion. Then you got Hikaru Shida, who's had the title for as long as we can remember.
Since Delaware announcing last year in May, almost a year now.
So Shida is very, very talented in the ring. She's put on great matches. Does not have a big on-screen TV personality.
Unlike her YouTube channel. Unlike her YouTube channel. You'd be surprised.
I'll have to check that out. Riho, not much either. Nyla Rose, fans seem to have mixed opinions on her. So you look at who really the focal point of the women's division is in AEW, in my opinion, it's Dr. Britt Baker. She's had the most character development. She's got a lot to offer. She's great on the mic. She's had great feuds, and now she is in probably what's going to be probably her best feud to date with Thunder Rosa, and I've got high expectations. But Tony Khan recently went on to say that he knows the women's division has been somewhat ignored, but that's going to change. I feel like with the introduction of Shauna having a great match this past week, with this tournament to determine the number one contender, I think that we're going to see a revolution of its own in AEW for women's wrestlers. You've seen a lot of promotion for AEW heels to try to get women wrestlers involved, have a place they can call home. Women in AEW are going to have their moment. Couple that with the fact that you got Shaquille O'Neal coming on with Jade Cargill, Red Velvet's going to be involved with that. I think that we have a lot to look forward to, and I think things are just getting started. We've had some bumpy, moments along the way, but I think that we're on a path to where it's really going to improve, and I think it could soon be one of the best things that we see coming from the product.
It's one of those things where I keep saying it. NXT is the most defined. Impact is the most diverse. AEW, in my opinion, with what I see through Dark, has the most potential. There is no women's division that was built in one night. Heck, there was no women's division that was built over a year. People are like, I've been waiting for a year. Well, guess what? You've been waiting for 20 plus years for a product like this to reinvite you to be a fan of wrestling in general. It has reignited the wrestling community. Yep. AEW has. And they're finally now trying to put a focus towards the women's division. At first, it was the tag division. Then it was mainstream focus, why Chris Jericho was their first champion. Now they're finally putting more focus into the women's division with the idea of these bridges being basically mended together with these other companies too. And now you have this mainstream attention as well. Now, maybe they just need to get like some mainstream attention from a big female athlete, like somebody in UFC or something like that. Maybe that would help it, just to give it that focus.
Yeah.
You see on Dark and what's developing in the Nightmare Factory, there's a lot of potential to what this women's division can be. It's just about dedicating more time to it. And again, maybe that is the biggest flaw. But with another hour of some sort of AEW television coming to TV at some point, and the fact now they have a dedicated tournament focused on just building a rightful, strong, valid number one contender towards Shida's title. I imagine a match at Revolution. I feel, it's definitely on the rise. And Riho versus Serena Deeb, you have two very smart, well-rounded wrestlers, one that is very diverse, just has been a trailblazer all over the world. And then you got one of the strongest Josie Pro multi-time title holder wrestlers ever in Riho. Deeb and Riho could be a real show stealer. And honestly, I feel people definitely should not sleep on either of them and should not just assume, like you said, though you think Riho is going to advance. I would not count out Deeb at all in this either. I'm very ambitious towards this match and who could be involved in this tournament. Heck, maybe a name I never even heard of. You don't know. That's kind of the surprise. And the fact AEW is giving us this type of surprise, I feel is very smart. And honestly, I see this tournament kicking off after Beach Break. But again, this women's division, as Kenny Omega once said on the Elite, it's getting started. It's just getting started, in my opinion. And again, you're just going to have to wait and see. Patience is a virtue. Do not define patience by the amount of time. Define patience by the results when they finally happen. Because I guarantee you in AEW, they will. That's all I got to say about that. And again, like you said, Brad, I'm excited. All right. Well, I tell you what, it has been a crazy couple weeks of Dynamite, but if there's one thing I love when Dynamite does, it's a special. We're going to the beach as this next coming Dynamite is going to the beach. We're going to Beach Break, and we have 4 high-profile matches and a wedding. We got the wedding of the century with Penelope Ford and Kip and the best man to be on his butler, Charles Taylor. We have a 6-man tag main event and a co-main event, some have called, and I think that's rightfully deserved, with Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. A tag team battle royale with 10 of the best tag teams in AEW for a title shot at Revolution. And we're also going to pick back up round 2 with Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston, but this time it's a lumberjack match. And I guarantee you, Butcher, Blade, and the Bunny, yay, Allie, they're going to be there. So we got a stacked show ahead of us this coming Wednesday. So let's go ahead and briefly talk about it. So, Dr. Brad, first off, give me your thoughts on round 2. Lance Archer, Eddie Kingston, lumberjack match. We know Lance, he's a renegade. He rolls alone. But lumberjacks, it seems there's a dynamic where some lumberjacks, they favor a challenger versus the other. But here in AEW, I feel like these lumberjacks are just going to be freelance. I sense chaos galore. And Lance Archer's just going to try and kill everybody. I sense anarchy has to ensue here. But honestly, I see this going to a series of 3. I see Lance pick up the win here. Give me your thoughts on this match.
I agree. I think Lance will pick up the win here. And you think about the type of personality that both these guys have. The lumberjacks, so to say, are in for a rude awakening. They think they're going to keep the match under control. They need to worry about keeping themselves free from danger, because I think that those two get outside the ring simultaneously. It's going to be utter freaking chaos. You're going to see bodies everywhere because Lance Archer doesn't play. Eddie Kingston, he has a mouth on him, but he backs up what he has to say.
You're damn right. Also, Jake owns Eddie something. And I think Jake's going to not only be very vocal here, but somehow is going to get physically involved in this too. And I've already seen Lance threaten the bunny. I'm just saying, Lance, beware the bunny. All right. Don't underestimate her. I feel like people are because she hasn't been wrestling lately. But there's a reason why Allie is with the Butcher and the Blade, and more importantly, with Eddie Kingston. This match is going to be violent. It might top the match I saw this week on Dynamite, but more so, I'm just going to be involved just watching the chaos because this match is going to be utmost chaotic. I can't wait. All right. So let's go ahead and look at this wedding. We already talked about the wedding, so I don't think much more needs to be said. Again, what the hell is AEW going to do? Who's going to show up is the better question. Because when it comes to special segments, we sometimes get a surprise. I don't think we're going to see Eric B involved in this unless he literally is coordinating the wedding, okay? Then again, Eric B could do anything. Who knows? But let's go ahead and look at this match because I feel like this match right here, it's got a lot of interesting pieces. I mean, look at the tag teams involved in this, Dr. Brad. It's 10 men, tag team battle royale for a title shot. We got the Acclaim. We got Top Flight. We got Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy representing Jurassic Express. FTR, the new team of Jericho and MJF. And somehow, Hager, Sammy, and Proud and Powerful, they're all involved in it too. And of course, the Dark Order. And of course, as well, at the forefront, the champs themselves, who are literally trying to control their destiny. Now, I don't know about you, but we've seen the influence with Matt Hardy and Private Party. He has led them now to be number one contenders in Impact Wrestling for the Impact World Tag Team Championships at No Surrender against the Good Brothers. How will that influence play here? Only time will tell. And I'm sure Top Flight owes them one because, again, it was against Top Flight where they truly showed Matt Hardy's influence on them as well. FTR and Jurassic Express, they're going to go to town against each other. The Inner Circle, represented by three teams, there's going to be, I think, turmoil among which team deserves to be the winners here. I feel like Sammy's going to throw out MJF. And then you got the Acclaim, which I feel is the most oddball being part of this, but okay. I got to be honest, part of me, because I really wanted Butcher and Blade to be involved in this and win, because again, I want Butcher and Blade to be tag champs, but looking at the field, I figure literally it's going to be the Young Bucks that gets the win here. And while I feel that might give people a bad taste in their mouth, there's a story again about the Young Bucks basically challenging maybe the Good Brothers to Impact titles, and more so going up against Don Callis and his philosophy. And once again, questioning Kenny Omega, where's your allegiance? Where's your head at, bro? Where do you stand? I don't know about you, but I think the Young Bucks are winning this. Give me your thoughts on this tag team battle royale.
I think the Young Bucks winning is very, very likely. When you couple the fact the Good Brothers could be a potential opponent they would handpick, the fans would want to see it. I would certainly like to see it. I know you would want to as well. So for them to win, and the thing is, there's been this talk that, the Young Bucks are like the greatest tag team. I mean, in that sense, they should win. They would just prove that they are the dominant tag team in AEW. But man, what a match it would be if they were to win and then challenge the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers take the belts off of them, and now they're also belt collectors along with Kenny Omega.
Look at you trying to take AEW Revolution in advance. But again, if you want to collect belts, I mean, why not the Good Brothers follow suit if this is literally the group that he's rolling with? It would be crazy if the Good Brothers somehow cost the Young Bucks in this, all right? But the only other possible team that could win this, because people want to see the match again, maybe is FTR, but I see their beef with Jurassic Express being their downfall.
I think that Jurassic Express and FTR are going to take each other out. I'm going to go with a wild card here. I think that the only other potential possible winner we could get, if it's not the Young Bucks, I'm going to go with MJF and Jericho. And the reason why I say that is because the Inner Circle has got a big story with MJF being in there. How much would it really elevate what's going on with them if they are the winners? They come off that triple threat victory as the tag team in the Inner Circle. They go into this battle royale and they win the match. Not only does that gloat Jericho's ego, but man, does it gloat MJF's ego. You add to the story of what's going on internally with those guys. Santana, Ortiz, Sammy, they all get pissed off and jealous. And who knows, maybe down the road when they have their match, the Inner Circle cost MJF and Jericho the tag titles against the Young Bucks. That could potentially lead to a potential breakup with the Inner Circle. I'm just thinking long term here, but that's my wild card if it's not the Young Bucks winning.
Wow. Well, you definitely put something in my mind there. I mean, MJF and Jericho challenging the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team titles, only to lose because of Inner Circle interference. The turmoil that would happen after the fall from Revolution. That sounds crazy. But I like that a lot. And also the fact that MJF and Jericho, they might question each other because they didn't get it done. Because you wonder if MJF and Jericho, they seem so buddy-buddy. Could they have a fallout among themselves? Technical difficulties, the doc froze. But I like that a lot. Okay, well, again, we're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I feel like at this point, it's got to be either the Young Bucks or freaking Jericho and MJF based on what you just said alone. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about our co-main event because, again, it's your girl. So take it away. It finally is coming ahead. What started with a tweet has now come down to violence, disrespect, and literally questioning Thunder Rosa why she's in AEW and even ruining her freaking face paint, which she carries with her because that is her heritage. Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with Reba. Despite how much Reba could be a saving grace for Britt Baker, I don't know about you, but I'm a little worried about her, and I'm not just talking about her teeth. Dr. Brad, you're fossing this match. Who takes it?
It's time for Thunder Rosa to get her revenge. It's going to happen. It's going to be vicious. I think you're going to see a lot of cheap heel tactics from Britt Baker. I think she's going to give a great performance. You're going to get a lot of near falls. She's going to try to lock in the lockjaw. Say that.
Try to lock in lockjaw. Try to lock in the lockjaw. Try to lock in lock. Hold on, I got you. Try
there we go.
Lock in lockjaw. Lock in lockjaw. Okay. Yeah. I'm not
gonna. We locked up the internet with that statement.
Anyway, continue.
Okay, so we're going to see that submission hold. We're going to see that attempt several times. Even if it does if she captures Thunder Rosa, she'll find a way out. I think that Reba's going to try to get involved, and then she's going to get what's coming to her. Either she'll get knocked off the ring, she'll get kicked in the face, whatever.
I love Reba's character. I love Reba's character.
I think it's going to be a vicious match. I want to see a really physical back and forth. I think Thunder Rosa at some point, she's going to bitch slap Britt Baker right across the face.
She owes her receipts.
There's gonna be a moment, and those two could just they could just look at each other and just have a stare down to start the match, and then Thunder Rosa, bam, backhands her, and then it's just 0 to 150 in a matter of seconds. But while you're going to see some near falls, I think Britt Baker's going to put on a hell of a performance because I think she's incredibly talented. Thunder Rosa gets the win here.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't see this being a one-off. And Thunder Rosa, okay, she's not officially signed with AEW, but there's no way I see this being done just after one match. And right now, Britt Baker, we don't even know if she's going to be involved in this tournament. And I feel like that's just going to further fuel Britt Baker to get her revenge. And this is not cinematic. This is a straight-up fight. We're going to see if Britt Baker can hold up with one of the best in the world in Thunder Rosa. I see this topping what she did with Sheila during the pandemic. I don't necessarily see her nose being busted open again, but I definitely see a lot of violent physical chat and a lot of brutal punishment to both ladies here. And Reba is going to be like panicking at me and saying, "Oh my God, you're good. Leave her alone," or some madness like that. Some craziness is going to do. I hope Aubrey's the ref here so Britt Baker can be like, "Conspiracy," because I know she called freaking Ref Aubrey, the leader of the conspiracy. Well, imagine freaking Aubrey counting you down for 1, 2, 3. Regardless, I love this feud. I don't think it's going to end here. I only see it maybe bubbling over. Imagine these two facing each other in the tournament, round 2. But right now, I'm giving round 1.
Gosh.
This being the first off, I'm giving it to Thunder Rosa. And I don't see nobody coming out to Thunder Rosa on her behalf either. She's going to do this on her own. But again, this is long overdue. Britt, you got to have a seat coming. But good luck. It should be a hell of a fight. Speaking of a hell of a fight, yes, Brad?
I'm going to say, sorry to interrupt, but just going back to some long-term booking, let Thunder Rosa get the victory here. Throw Britt Baker into the women's tournament for #1 contender. She faces Thunder Rosa. She gets a victory. You see Britt Baker win the tournament. She takes the title off Shida. She's, next heel champion for AEW.
Look, let's just call it like it is. We all see the next AEW Women's World Champion right now, regardless how it happens. It's got to be Britt Baker, Dutch DMD.
Yeah.
It is long freaking overdue.
Absolutely.
And it absolutely needs to happen too. I'm calling it right now. She becomes champ by All Out. If it's not for this tournament, if it's not Double or Nothing, I see a new champion at All Out. It has to be Britt Baker's time. She's done an incredible job.
And as a champion, she would really help elevate not only the women's division, but a lot of the incoming talent. You saw her match with Shanna this past week. Imagine what she would do with like Kylan King in the ring and legit Layla Hirsch.
King, Brooke Havoc, whether it's Dark or Dynamite, she's done it with everybody.
Throw in Anna Jay, Ty Conti. There's a list of people she can go down and have great matches with.
Anna Jay versus Britt Baker 1-on-1 with Anna Jay as a baby face. Just think about that. Okay, just think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Again, bottom line though, this is going to be a really good match, and I'm glad they're calling it a co-main event because it rightfully deserves it. And I believe this is going to get a lot of time, and I really think it deserves it too. If we can, please avoid a commercial break and picture-in-picture because that gets annoying for women's matches, especially personally for me, but I digress. Now, the 6-man tag, this is going to be wild because, again, it is Jon Moxley, Rey Fenix, and the Bastard Pac taking on Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. The last time Jon Moxley and Pac were in tag partners, he flipped him off and paradigm shifted him and left him for dead against Kenny Omega and him and Adam Page. In one of my all-time favorite classic matches in AEW Dynamite. I still go back and rewatch that clip because that exchange was so damn good. But now you got this idea of Jon Moxley wants Kenny Omega. Good Brothers, they are here on Kenny Omega's behalf. I'm sure Don Callis will not be that far too. I look at this main event tag team match, and I'm like, okay, it was the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega that got the win in the Impact Hard to Kill main event, and it was Kenny Omega who pinned Rich Swann. Now, that makes sense because that builds the idea of Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega. All the momentum right now, though, it favors Kenny Omega. So how do you level that? Thinking about maybe that match being some point down the line without Impact interfering necessarily. That'd be the crazy thing to have in a beach break. I feel like Jon Moxley and his team, they got to get the win here, just if nothing else, to avenge their fallen brother. Now, whether or not it's Kenny Omega who eats the fall here, one of the Good Brothers who falls to maybe not even Jon Moxley for that matter. Maybe Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, they go to blows to the point they leave, and it literally comes down to Good Brothers and the Death Triangle. That could be an impromptu tag feud maybe for the Impact World Tag titles with this whole idea of Tony Khan and Impact Wrestling has like his fantasy like league per se with that crazy subtle paid advertising where it looked like he was drunk with celebration. But regardless, I see the Death Triangle and Jon Moxley going over here over Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers one way or another. Your thoughts on this 6-man tag main event?
There's so much build up to this match. Really, the history between Mox and Omega going back to December and that world title match, it's got huge implications. Moxley's been on fire. He's incredible on the mic. He's really contributed to the story. You've got Pac coming in, who is also an incredible storyteller. I mean, it's going to be. I'm with you. Omega and the Good Brothers, they're on a super high right now. Mox has got to get this victory for his team. And if he pins Omega and that's the outcome, you can expect that rematch between Mox and Omega to happen
at Revolution.
Yes, and that could be the way it builds up.
Yeah, I mean, it was
and
Revolution this past year where Jon Moxley became champion. He beat Chris Jericho.
Yeah. So I don't think it would hurt Kenny Omega to be the one who's pinned, especially if, let's say, you get someone like, I don't know, let's say Rich Swann interferes and he helps cost the match, and that's the reason that Omega gets pinned. Well, then both those guys have a bone to pick with each other about an unclean finish to a match. Then they settle it once and for all at Revolution, who the true champion is.
Well, I'm gonna open Pandora's box and go even further than that, because I don't know if you keep up as much as NJPW like I do, because that's the company I'm most dedicated to. But on their NWP Strong special, Jon Moxley, he rode Death Rider style and sent a message to one particular man finally, where he dropped him down the middle of the cerulean blue with a Death Rider. Imagine the internet's state of shock and the world breaking if Kenta shows up here somehow and costs Jon Moxley this match, somehow building towards the IWGP United States Championship match, hopefully happening sooner than later on NJPW Strong. There's a lot of interesting ideas that could happen here.
There is.
Way off a tangent, thinking about forbidden doors may finally have been opened, as AEW suddenly did tweet, hello, eyes open, after Jon Moxley Death Rider showed up in NJPW Strong this past Friday and dropped Kenta. And he was holding that United States Championship. We're talking about a pay-per-view called Revolution. We are looking at AEW, who's already mending this idea that AEW and Impact, it's a thing working together. And now you got this idea of AEW acknowledging the fact our champion or one of our top guys was on your product and dropped one of your boys. Revolution could literally bring the entire world of wrestling together under a super card, and their super card show is actually all out that they basically market. So I'm just saying, maybe I'm speaking way too soon, but there's a lot going on right now for Jon Moxley. But looking at the short term, yeah, I think you're right. I think this definitely is the match is going to set up and make official Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. Because if they were to book Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, title for title at Revolution, that's it. End game. Game over.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that. And it's interesting because literally that's Beach Break, a wedding and 4 matches. So all these matches are going to get a hell of a lot of time, I feel like. And I feel like this show, it's built to be pay-per-view level awesome. I honestly can't wait for this. So with that being said, there isn't much more to say about Beach Break except let's head on down to the beach and have a hell of a time. So that's it for that. So let's go ahead and go into our closing discussion, the Aftershock, where we just talk about every little old thing. So I'm just going to start off with this. Dr. Brad, I don't know about you. I thought the AEW Awards was a pretty fun showcase. All the mainstream media attention being the award presenters. Guys in their own career right, fitting the categories they were presenting. Most of my nominees, they got the win here. Were you surprised at all by any of the winners like that went against like your votes or anything like that? What was your thoughts on the showcase overall of the AEW Awards?
I thought it was really well done, just for an initial award show by a young company, and the fact they recognized so many different talent. I think it was breakout moment of the year going to Sting. I was really, really happy to see that as a big Sting fan, and that was a huge moment when he debuted. Got a kick out of the Inner Circle. Their award with the beat down, whatever it was called, that I don't remember all the names of the awards, but those moments I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, the biggest beat down where they got for basically beating down Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
As you can see, Cassidy has been juiced, but then later on, after MJF gets thrown into the pool on the cruise ship, he gets the LOL award, and Britt Baker tells him what this is, and he goes, I thank you, like, are you kidding me? I won it for this. And then he just goes on his own like MJF tangent, calling us out and be like, haha. Britt Baker, by the way, incredibly funny representative. I hope that she gave Sheeta back her award for Breakout Star of the Year, though she thinks she rightly should have won it. Now, Dr. Brad, don't be biased. Do you think Sheeta rightfully deserved that award, or was Brett right?
I think Sheeta did a great job representing the award.
There you go. Okay, good deal. Because like Britt Baker, she wanted to just own all the awards, and then Darby Allin, like, there's a reason I talk so little. People like you. Damn. She's like, we're gonna cut that. We're gonna cut that. We're gonna cut that. I thought the awards, by the way, were really simple too. Just an AEW kind of explosion type thing. I mean, maybe not the design I would have thought of, but you didn't want to make it look like a Nickelodeon logo, for example. And again, the way that they presented it and people just taking them, I thought was somewhat amusing. And Cody, of course, who got the award, of course, for being the best promo, it seemed, with the dog collar match promo. And Britt Baker is like, this is one of my best friends here, and she couldn't even remember what the award was for, best on the mic or the mic moment of the year, something like that. I thought overall, yeah, this was fun. Most of my picks won. I can't wait to see what they got lined up for next year. Maybe we'll do like a preview show of it next year too. Okay, so Brad, what's on your mind regarding anything All Elite?
I'm just ready to start seeing Kenny Omega start having those 6-star matches defending the title. That's what I'm ready for. I want to see.
Finish was close. I will say that.
I mean, that was a hell of a way to start it, but 2021 just getting started. And what I want this year is I want Kenny Omega just wipe the floor with his performances. And I think he's got the ability to do it. I'm a huge fan, huge mark for Omega. I will admit that. I think 2021 is his year, and I want AEW to strive with him as the top guy and him as their champion.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. Actually, he's going to be the longest reigning champion in AEW history. We've already seen this little character, heel development, and this Don Callis dynamic added to it. I think just further adds to the way Kenny Omega is going to elevate his game and the storytelling. I saw on a bit of Pro Wrestling Junkies virtual markup with Kenny Omega how basically Kenny Omega talks about his influences in the way he storytells, what he wants to do in wrestling, what he wants to do with wrestling as well. Brilliant question, by the way, for that individual fan. So, again, I think we're just getting started with this Kenny Omega run. And, again, so far we've had one classic. I think maybe more to come. The next one is bound to come Revolution. And if it's not Jon Moxley, it's got to be Rich Swann at this point. But I feel like they're going to go towards Jon Moxley. And I can't wait to see that. But, again, we're going to have to wait and see. Plus, we still have to wonder. The Death Rider Road finally in freaking NJPW again. Kenta's not going to forget that. That has to be picked up and given a receipt at some point. Now, whether or not that happens somewhere on AEW television, which would blow my freaking mind, I have no idea. But I honestly can't wait to see more of the Death Rider maybe showing off in AEW. We'll have to wait and see. But that's just my sole thoughts on that. Okay, so one more thing. So now we see Matt Hardy literally grace Impact Wrestling again as being the innovator of cinematic matches and carrying that company on his back during that time too. Now he has this influence as Big Money Matt with Private Party. He has led them to #1 contendership towards the Good Brothers titles. At this point, I gotta wonder, AEW right now, cards are all in their favor as Tony Khan is over the moon, or at least character-wise. Maybe he's playing a character because you saw him. It looked like he was drunk. He had a loose shirt. He was so damn happy and excited. And Tony Schiavone just stone-faced you. Tony Schiavone's just that guy. I'm curious to see where these pay-per-views go from here and who else is going to show up. What other impact is AEW going to put forth on Impact Wrestling? I mean, I'm still clamoring for Deonna Purrazzo or Kimberly to show up in AEW. That would just be freaking amazing. I was really hoping that Eva Lisa Diamante would have crashed the Fire and Flavor celebration, but I guess let's just wait and see. But I'm curious about your thoughts on AEW's Impact. What do you think is the next Impact?
That's a good question. Well, we're going to get a tag match between Private Party and the Good Brothers.
Now,
so
I
mean,
that's win that.
That's there's been so many big moments, and it's been so unpredictable lately. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to say, but honestly, I think we're going to see something with the women's division in AEW interacting with the Knockouts division with Impact. I think that's going to be the next big move.
Do you see any of the knockouts being involved in this AEW tournament?
I think it's very, very possible. I would like to see an interaction between Rosemary and Abaddon.
Oh my God. If those two ever met, you might as well make Abaddon part of Decay. I think Abaddon would probably welcome that.
Yeah.
That might be one friend that Rosemary, they might actually be able to deal with and work with. I mean, they're both death bringers in their own way, but literally Abaddon lives this. So Rosemary, Courtney Rush, Two Paradigms, and I don't know, but that's definitely a wild idea right there. But again, yeah, and I'm very curious if a knockout will show up in this tournament. Will Taya Valkyrie show up? Will this be her introduction to AEW? Or will she show up at the Royal Rumble tomorrow? I guess I'm calling it right now. If Taya Valkyrie doesn't show up at the Royal Rumble tomorrow night, as we record this, which is now going on 11:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday night, January 30th. We've been going for 90 minutes. This is fun. We're about to wrap up. If Taya Valkyrie doesn't show up at the Royal Rumble, I guarantee you she's going to AEW. It has to be.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that. But yeah, I definitely agree. The next approach, it has to be the women's division. Now, whether or not it's the Knockouts tag titles being pursued by maybe Ivelisse and Diamante, which makes the most sense to me, or whether or not we have knockout influence in this tournament, that's got to be the next direction between AEW and Impact Wrestling. This continued friendly, merging competition, business relationship continues. But you know what I really want to see, since we were talking about it earlier? You wonder, where can Page find a fit? Who can he actually maybe be friends with? Who can he connect with? I don't know about you, but the idea of James Storm and him and Adam Page screams money to me. And I'm not talking about beer money, but it could be literally be a beer money 2.0. I want to see Adam Page and James Storm connect at a bar and form a tag team. No
That'd be awesome.
Saban and Bear Guns, but the Morrissey Machine Guns themselves are established, and I know Alex will be back. But James Storm, his partner, Bobby Roode, is stuck in WWE. Damn it. So literally, James Storm, him and Adam Page, that might be the dream pairing waiting to happen. And then we'll see who picks up the bill at the bar.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm just saying. I mean, come on. That's got to be something people thought about. I mean, again, Hangman Page, he needs something. James Storm is the cowboy. And these two as a tag team, take my freaking money. And my beer too, because I don't drink. Okay. That's all I got to say about that. All right. Let's go ahead and do one more thing, Brad. What else is on your mind? How you want to conclude tonight's AEW Spark Aftershock?
Well, I think I want to conclude by saying, winter has come. It arrived. Now it's time to warm up and go to the beach, and things are going to really heat up as we kick off and go into 2021.
Buckle up, pull out the flip-flops, get your beach towels, and bask in the sun, because we're just getting started, and things are really heating up around here in AEW. And as John Moxley says, he loves it. He welcomes chaos. You know what? When it comes to professional wrestling as a fan, I do too. I just wish I could see it live. But again, one day. Well, I think that's about as perfect as a way to conclude this special edition of AEW Spark Re-ignited. So I thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Love to hear your thoughts, your opinions in the conversation too. Like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend to. Come be a part of the revolution. Be a part of the conversation too. All you need is StreamYard. I welcome all of you. Dr. Brad, a pleasure as always, man. This was a hell of a talk. We got Beach Break around the corner. We put our predictions in, and you know what? The hell with it. Hey, Team Ali, I know I missed out because of COVID recovery. I know y'all had open challenge for TNT title. I wasn't involved in it. Whoever is the TNT champion, I respect you. I respect your game and your knowledge. But I feel it's time to maybe go ahead and elevate the game and re-pursue it. TNT Championship, TNT Champion, I'm calling you out. Wednesday, Beach Break. Put up or shut up. I'll see
Shane Wells, you heard him. Shane Wells, he's coming for you.
Good friend, analyst. We'll see what happens, man. But I personally challenge you for the TNT Championship at Beach Break. I wait your response. With that being said, though, going back to this platform forum, thank you again, Dr. Brad. Always extreme pleasure doing this with you. Anything you want to plug and promote, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on online on Team All Elite. I'm constantly posting, starting up conversations there. You can find me in Team WWE, Team Impact. And I'd like to think that I've made a new home as a frequent guest here on AEWSPARK. So you can also find me here.
There you go. Hey, man, you're always welcome on here. Like I said, you bring a hell of a conversation, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. And, folks, like I said, he's a good role model, literally a good-hearted fellow, and he won't stay around. He's just a great fellow wrestling fan like me. So give him a chat and see what you all can come up with conversation-wise. Thank you again, Dr. Brad. Appreciate you. Folks, you want to know more about me? You know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling in all of its forms. So follow me on all social media platforms. Let's connect and have a fun time too. Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation, even YouTube as well. It's nfoster1916 or NoDQ.com/Noah. If you haven't already, I encourage you to join the NoDQ Guys Predictions League for all things wrestling, and shout out to AEW family on Twitter. We're doing the Royal Rumble. It's literally less than 24 hours away. Come join the fun at time of recording, because I'm going to upload this immediately, probably right before literally we hit Sunday. This is 11:30. But anyway, also, you want to know more about is the description down below. Support my friends, support all my affiliates, and of course, support NoDQ and support Team All Elite. Shout out to the leader, founder, and creator, Mark the Chris Reviews. We're on the road to 1,000. Let's get there, folks, and let's keep this revolution going and growing. And as always, I'd like to close. In wrestling, folks, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters. There are just fans. So respect each other's opinions. Let's build this community together, straight off conversations and passions. And at the end of the day, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell, no next video goes live on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. I'll be back with a simple take on the new beginning in Nagoya some point Monday night after the Royal Rumble. As of course, I have Royal Rumble duties for NoDQ. So, for Dr. Bradley Campo, I am the simple man. My name is Noah Foster. Thank you all for tuning in. Once again, AEWSPARK Re-ignited edition. Take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families and enjoy wrestling. There's more of it now than ever. Find something, some promotion, somebody, some friend, some fan that can connect with you. And again, be safe. Be positive. We'll get through this together. Have an open mind and just enjoy life and have a good night. And thanks again for being the elite.
The elite. The elite. Bring it down.
Copyright, not copyright. This is absolutely too sweet. Good night, everybody.